Check out this crew. Oscar nominee Chaz Palminteri, Oscar winner Robert De Niro, Tony winner Jerry Zaks, and legendary music mogul Tommy Mottola. They all share a love for the Bronx Tale. This is a one-man show starring Chaz Palminteri back in the 80s. Robert made his directorial debut and appeared in the 1993 movie version. Now, nearly 25 years later, they've turned A Bronx Tale into a Broadway musical. Chaz wrote the book, Robert and Jerry co-direct. Tommy is lead producer. Wow, guys, good morning. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Take this the right way. This is like a murderer's row of producing and directing talent here. This is your story, right? I saw him at a basketball game not long ago. We walked up, talked to each other. When we brought this show up, you got a smile on your face like I have never seen before. Why does it mean so much to you?
Well, it's my life story, growing up in the Bronx. I witnessed this murder when I was a kid. My father, Lorenzo, was a bus driver. He played saxophone, he always wanted to play, be a saxophone player, which I didn't bring it up in the movie or the one-man show, but I was able to do it in this musical. Bob saw me do it in almost 28 years ago, and he said this should be a movie, and Bob made it happen as a movie.
The way the story goes, you're told after one night doing that one-man show that he's in the house and in your dressing room and wants to talk to you.
Yes.
What do you remember about that meeting?
No, I had been hearing about the show and so on, and so I said I want to go see it, and that's how it. Then it had been running for a while, a couple of months or something, and then I went and saw Chaz. We said we'll talk, blah blah blah. Next thing, that's.
You say he changed your life, and I want to mention there were other offers you had gotten to buy the story. Why was his offer the right offer at that time?
Well, because what Bob said was, first of all, Bob was the one who said, you should play Sonny, and you'll write the screenplay because it'll be honest. He was the one who gave me that opportunity. Everybody else wanted it, but they didn't want me. They wanted to put a star in the role. But Bob let that happen, and he let me write the screenplay. And really, and he looked at me and said, if you do it with me, I'll make it right. I'll never forget those words. And he said, shake my hand, and that's the way it'll be.
That was the deal right there.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward 25 years. Jerry, why was the time right to make it a musical?
It's a timeless story, Matt. The story of a young kid who's got a father on one side and a father figure on the other, and not knowing who to listen to, who to pay attention to, is timeless. And I think the idea of adding music to it is a beautiful stroke because it lifts up everything. It's just a beautiful story.
Tommy, you helped make the soundtrack from the movie popular. Why did you believe that this could work on Broadway as a musical?
I had always been connected to it because of Bob and then doing the soundtrack at Sony at that time. But this amazing coming-of-age story with kids from an Italian neighborhood, kids who were just down the block in the black neighborhood, my growing up in the Bronx, and Bob and I were sitting around one day and said, this has got to be a musical. And that component was the thing that really changed the whole dynamic to make it what it is now.
A lot of power here, a lot of great resumes sitting across from me. When push comes to shove in a project like this and there's a dispute over something,
it's me.
I didn't even ask the question.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
You get the final say?
He's the big guy.
Yeah? Is that right, Robert?
Yeah. And Jerry really did the show, most of the whole thing. He did the heavy lifting. And we always, the last thing you want is any kind of discord or I just can't have that. Me personally, I can't be part of that. So we have a disagreement. We talk about it. We make a choice, and we move forward with it. And that's
but co-directing is a little like co-parenting. It looks good on paper, but it's not as easy in real life.
It was not easy, and we did a great job.
Exactly.
Really, it wasn't easy?
Yeah.
No, of course not. Everyone's got strong opinions here. Everybody.
Really?
And
Tommy, everybody.
The best idea usually won.
Let me segue a little bit to something in the news right now. In 3 days, we'll have a new president in this country. And even in the run-up to that, we're learning that our democracy, while a model for the world, can be messy. And there are some calls to boycott the inaugural. How do we feel about that? Do you think those calls are warranted?
Yeah, I think they are. I think that whatever people do, they should do it fully because there's a lot of crazy stuff happening now. It's just crazy, and maybe it's an act, and we'll see once he's in. But everybody has to be on guard.
But at some point, you have to stand up and support democracy and the office, don't you?
Of course. But it has to be if you were,
It also,
are you saying, do you believe what you see, or do you believe what I tell you? That old joke.
So
And we've been seeing a lot what we see, but not, you know, it's not. We all know what I'm talking about, so that's the.
And I think it's human nature
disturbing
to
thing.
protect the possibility of a happy ending. And so we're going to do everything we can, for as long as we can, to hope that this story has a happy ending for the country.
yeah, and it's
Exactly.
a big opportunity for everyone to come together.
I think that's why Bronx Tale resonates so well right now, too, Matt, is because of the two neighborhoods. There's the black neighborhood and the Italian neighborhood. And what Bronx Tale talks about is how people can come together, where one of the main aspects of the play is it better to choose love or fear, because Sonny is a student of Machiavelli. In jail, he studied Machiavelli, so he tells the boy, "What do you choose, love or fear?" And at the end, Sonny ends up choosing love. So I think that's why it's so relevant today.
Smart takes on it from all of you, but only he managed to get it back to a Bronx Tale. And we just mentioned that. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Guys, congrats. And by the way, you're going to stick around because we're going to actually have a cast performance coming up in our next hour. And you can catch A Bronx Tale now at the Longacre Theater.